Hey everybody, it's BallietBran. Thank you for joining me today. Today we have a very special video and guest for you. So I will be interviewing and having on Nardo, and I'll have his information. It's already in the description below. That's his Twitter link, and then we're gonna bring him on after just a quick introduction. So let me get to the chat real quick, and we're gonna have a little hangout. So Nardo is a Hexican, and him and I talked maybe a couple weeks ago, and I'm glad that we hit things off and that we can have this interview and have this hangout on my channel. So one of the things I'm going to be doing on my channel more frequently is having people on the BallietBran show, or having people here that we can not only learn from, but that we can just hang out and relate to. So without further ado, let me just, hey, we got a Hexologist in the house. So without further ado, let me just get Nardo's Twitter real quick. Just some contact information for everybody. Let's see, we're gonna pull up DLive real quick here and share it there as well. So we're just gonna get the bookkeeping out of the way first, so you guys can go follow him on Twitter. And that's currently the only social media that I have. 1 second here. So that's currently the only social media of his that I have currently. But when I bring Nardo on, we will get the rest of his information as well, maybe towards the end of the stream, so everyone can not only follow him, but you guys can like his posts and things like that. So all right, we're on DLive, and let me just let me put this in the DLive real quick here. Let's just make sure this is live. All right, well, I guess if someone wants to confirm we're live on DLive, there's the link there, and then on Twitch and Periscope and YouTube, we're gonna put the link there as well. So that is Nardo's his Twitter. Feel free to follow him if you haven't already. And without further ado, we're gonna bring Nardo on. So let me undo the mic, and then I'll bring him on here. 1 second. Let me get the both of us. Okay, how's it going, Nardo?
Hey, good, Bran. How about you?
Really good, man. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for being willing to come on and kind of chit chat with the community.
Yeah, my pleasure. Has it been about long enough?
Right? No, it's cool that you were on the 24-hour stream, if I recall, too, right?
I got caught up that day.
Oh, okay, sure.
Side job, but I did one of the dance video things.
Oh, nice, dude. Later
was incorporated to an intro. That was pretty cool.
That's cool, man. I like how active the community is. Like for myself, I'm not like there's like things that we lack in, and then there's things that we excel in. And for myself, okay, it doesn't look like we're live on DLive. All right, let me try and refresh that. But for myself, I'm not the best at Photoshop, let's say, but a bit Hex or Allin, he made a Photoshop of me the other day when I was on a live stream, and it's just cool that it's cool that the community is interactive. Like you said, that you were in a clip, and it's cool that people spend their time to do that.
Yeah. Me and Hexologist had a pretty good laugh about it when I sent it to him on Twitter. I mean, I really don't know how to dance at all, and I was sitting there in front of my toolboxes, and I had the body guy that works next to me, like, "Hey man, get me real quick." And yeah, all my dancing goes back to the robot.
Yeah, right, to the robot. Hey man, the robot's definitely classic, man. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. That's cool, man. Well, I guess we can start off with maybe just a little bit of information about yourself. I don't know if you want to, say how you got into crypto, or kind of just, chit chat about your experience.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to learn about crypto because I was like one of the gold and silver bugs for so long.
Sure.
My grandpa got me on the tip to like every paycheck buy a 1 ounce silver coin with each paycheck, because you just never know how this stuff's going to go in life. And I had did that for years and years and years, and never really. I mean, I had big returns, but I kind of bought in late at like $30, and the top was $48 for silver.
Right.
Well, then I just kind of rode that downtrend. Eventually, I let it go, and yeah, I found crypto, and I found a way to dollar cost average into crypto, um, because I was one of those kids buying Bitcoin at $800, and I would sell it at 1,200, thinking I did the best I could do. It's going down, and man, I wish there was a lockup feature back then.
Wow. That's so interesting that you say that. Okay, guys, we're live on D Live now. I just restarted it. So for everyone that's mentioning the comments, thank you. But that's cool that you got into silver. So do you know how long ago that was, if you don't mind sharing, how long ago you got into that?
Yeah, I think I started collecting silver back in '98.
Okay, wow.
And yeah, I had a toolbox in my room, and ball bearing drawers and everything to hold all these huge ounce bars and hundreds of ounces, because it really wasn't worth that much.
Sure.
When I was buying it, and then yeah, with the run up, I think we got up to $48, I think, in that '05.
Okay.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
'05.
So Grandpa was still around then, and we sold, and yeah, then we seen it bottom, and I don't know. I still got back into it, but it just never really was the gains I was looking for. You know.
Sure. I totally know, man. So that's cool. You've got the silver background that we kind of discussed, and you mentioned trading maybe a little bit of Bitcoin from the swings, the 800s to the 1200s. So I guess how long have you been in crypto? What was the first time that you got into it?
I think it was pretty much when Coinbase started, because I was
Okay.
never really that tech savvy, and I think that was one of the first times I had bought a smartphone. So probably like late 2016, or
Nice.
yeah, 2016.
That's cool, man. That's I mean, yeah, for myself or for some of the other people, they yeah, I mean, I got in like March of 2017. So it's cool that someone like yourself or even some of the other OGs in the Hex community, they've had a lot of experience in crypto. Hex isn't their first rodeo.
Yeah, yeah, and then come to find out, when I discovered crypto, and had the courage to tell my family about this new investment that I was going to be going into. Come to find out, my stepdad had already bought coins on that was the Mount Gox,
Oh,
and I was just, I think, a month and a half late for him to have a chance to sign up to get his coins back, and we missed that. So it is what it is, but it
sure.
also expanded my and my stepfather's relationship too. I never thought he was down with anything radical like that.
Well, yeah, if you don't mind me asking, how did he get into it? Like, was he the one that introduced you to it, or that's really cool that he had coins back in Mount Gox days?
Yeah, I guess with my stepfather being a pipe fitter,
Okay.
um, he was probably number two in his union around here, and we've all heard of these things come and go over time. And my stepdad just really kind of harped on it, leaned his head and told me, you never know which one of these is going to work, and
Right.
just something as simple as $10 or $100, don't go out to eat that weekend, and it, he's been right for a long time.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really good lessons. And I know you and I talked a couple of times before doing this stream to kind of find out, what we're going to talk about and get to know each other a little bit. And you were telling me on the phone that in Hex, you like say with your friends and whatnot, it's not like you need a whole bunch of money to start off with. You can just average in.
Correct. Yeah. My most powerful technique that I do is the dollar cost averaging. And I show people on my computer what I did. Even as the minimal of $1 or 65 cents a day, I'm probably one of the only ones in the adoption amplifier. If you look me up, I did 12 days of 65 cents a day. But even though a lot of people think it's nothing, that 10 or so bucks turned out to be over like $200 now. And I still use that same technique. I mean, even today, a couple hours ago, I bought the 52 dip.
Right.
We ran up to 60 and just anything I can. And it's not huge amounts. I think I just did 27 bucks with a $2 gas fee. That's usually the name of my game. I get up real early and usually my time zone, I can nail that gas fee and it's minimum. And that's been cool.
That's cool, man. Not only is Hex a dynamic system in the way that it fluctuates with APY and things like that based on how many people are staking, but Ethereum is kind of similar in the gas fees, like how clogged up is the mempool or is like the chain itself. And long story short, that's cool that you're able to time the actual gas fees, because some of the biggest complaints that I hear from newcomers or no coiners is a $3 transaction fee. But if you're, I don't know, if you're dollar cost averaging and if you do your stakes strategically enough with the laddered approach, I think you'll do very well for anyone that's getting into Hex.
Yeah, I relate those guys, no hard feelings, but like the people that are complaining about gas fees, you probably just need to check something else out in your life. Stop going out to eat so much, do the grocery store, maybe stop drinking so you have that extra cash where you're not complaining over 3 or so bucks. Because these are the things I have to educate some of the guys I work with.
Right.
Put it right back in their face.
I think that might be a little bit better or a little bit closer. I agree, Nardo, and Richard. He's had this comment a lot on his live streams, and I think it's cool that he's willing to be patient and answer the same question many times. But when he was asked about like, are you gonna fork or airdrop to another chain because the gas fees will be cheaper? And his comment has always been like, go where the money goes. And right now the money's in Ethereum. Like the actual whales that have bought Hex and that have done all these stakes, it's in the Ethereum ecosystem and network. And if you're complaining about a $3 gas fee, like to your point, maybe don't get beer, multiple times a week, or, save that pack of cigarettes or whatever it is. Like if it's say $3 to $5 as an example, and someone's complaining about that, then maybe they should be a little bit more patient before doing their stake.
Yeah, they have to, or the market's going to force them to change.
Exactly, man. So I guess we can kind of. I'm all done with the shilling and whatnot on the Twitter and everything. It's all spread out there. So we got a decent crowd, but I kind of want to get into the Hex more. So you've talked about the crypto that you got into, and stepdad had coins in Mount Gox and all of these things. And I know you alluded to it a little bit earlier, but how long have you been in Hex?
I got in Hex day 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I needed help with an IT guy to make sure with the Electroleum wallet I've never used, to make sure that free claim went as planned. And me and him made a pact for that 90%. It comes out in 5 years. Me and him are going to split that. And then, day 1, I kick that 10% out for 10 years.
That's cool, man. And by the way, Hexologist and Motley Investor and a lot of other people in the chat on, not only Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope and D Live, but they say hi. So just
right on. What's happening, guys?
Can you see the chat, or are you kind of just focused on the screen right now on the StreamYard?
Yeah, I'm just staying in my lane. Cool. I'm just focused on the interview. I can't really see none.
Perfect, man. Well, I'll make sure to kind of in between our conversations and whatnot to throw in any of the comments that are
light them up.
So we also I did get a new gaming laptop that'll be here on Monday, so I'll be able to run like not Twitch, but I'll be able to run OBS with like the stream overlay and the comments on the screen like Hexologist does. But for in the meantime, the only thing that doesn't show up in my StreamYard comments is the DLive. So just wanted to say some of the people that were there as well. So Joe Hexotic, we got Serena Alonzi, we got Ross Hex. So just wanted to shout those people out as well. And real quick, also Joe Hexotic, he's on DLive, as you can see. If anyone's over there, they can also follow him. He has a show that I know he did a show yesterday with a Hexican lady in the community, but he's kind of branching off from, they're still doing the thing with him and Maddie Allin, but he's also doing his own show similar to what we're doing right now, just having a fireside chat.
Yeah, Joe Exotic and Pollyanni's show last night was pretty cool. And, it was really powerful, really. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's true. I felt the same way, and I feel the same way because one of the things I did a stream last night, kind of like an impromptu live stream after the Discourse Syndicate, and it's just cool that Annie and Joe did their show, and we don't just talk about Hex here. It's not just a echo chamber of just Hex. Like, it's cool that people in the community, and we can get into your story as well and your background if you want about the the things that you're doing for work right now, kind of in between, like the auto body and stuff if you want, but it's cool that everyone in the community has their own specialization, and I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I think I remember on their show last night, I think Pollyanny, her and her partner, I think he was a collision technician, similar to myself. And that's why I thought it was hilarious. They were doing the paintless dent repair. I was like, get out of here. It's like, you took my money.
Who was the collision technician that you mentioned?
I believe it was Pollyanny's person that she went on this all-around country tour.
Oh, okay, cool, nice.
So we were doing like trade shows, and she would do her thing, and I think her friend at the time was similar to my trade.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't catch the full show. I maybe kind of started like 20 or 30 minutes into it, so I didn't catch that part. But it is really cool, man. And in between, like I said, we'll cover some of the people in the chat. We got Hexologist. He says, when Nardo going to do a Hexican car hot rod show?
That's in the works at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Cool.
I really don't want to go public with any of the ideas until they're ready. Until I got somebody that can figure out how to edit and record this stuff, because I'm trying my best to learn all this new stuff, but it was never in my field. You know, so I'm learning Spanish. When I'm on computers or any of this editing stuff.
Really? That's cool, man. I know you and I talked about that over the phone, that if you don't know a skill set, like for myself, I mentioned Photoshop. Nowadays with the internet, especially someone in my age range or millennial generation, you can go on YouTube and pretty much learn anything you want step by step.
Yeah, 100% agree. We were talking about that last week, how I guess like my generation, we use YouTube for knowledge and education and trying to figure out comparables. But then when you look at their kids, they're only looking at it for cat videos and people hurting themselves and wrecking,
Right, man.
So I keep trying to explain to them too, it's not just a joke machine, it is a tool as well.
That's very true. And yeah, to your point, like with something like the internet and things like that, yeah, it can be used for entertainment. It can be used for bad things, for good things, or for educating yourself. Because nowadays, especially people in my age range, or maybe even a little bit older, but they've been, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but they've been sold the fallacy that, oh, you need to go to college and get a degree or do this. and go work at a job for 40 years, whatever it is, like the traditional thing. And if people can utilize the internet to actually teach themselves, then you might not have to, go into $100,000 worth of debt that you can't go bankrupt out of.
Yeah, I went 180 from status quo. My mom tells me all the time that I broke everything that I was, that you're a normal person supposed to do.
That's cool, man.
As far as instead of going 100,000 in debt at college, I went to a trade school. I went down to Tennessee, learned how to work on cars, have a crash course, and then they put you out there in the field. And I just fought hard enough where I eventually learned the trade. I don't think anybody's ever 100%. But then on top of that, I never I had a couple relationships that we were just on the verge of getting married and didn't work out. And here I am, no kids, and kind of go around the country. I can do anything I want at any time. It's pretty neat.
And to kind of go into that, so do you mind telling people what you said you went to, instead of like a college and getting a degree? You did something my grandpa's recommended to myself and to my
Correct.
dad a lot, which is going to a trade school. What did you learn?
Yeah, I went to a Nashville Auto Diesel College where I learned how to do the collision trade. So they'll give you wrecked cars and put them up on a frame rack. You can teach. They teach you how to learn the laser alignment system of where everything's supposed to be. Cut it off, weld it back on. Bondo work, paint, custom paint. There was a lot of cool things at that trade. But yeah, I wanted this trade specifically because we're paid commission. Mm-hmm. We are not like most other trades out there. Your electricians, plumbers, a lot of those guys are hourly. Me, even though I am an employee and I have nothing to do with the company, I get paid commission. So being able to turn 100-hour labor hours in a 40-hour actual work week, yeah, you're talking money. Let's go. And that's where it's at. And then secondary, where do you place yourself in this country? Because I had so many options, I started looking up towns. Where are all the rich cars at? And I found that town. And I had moved there 3 different times over a period of 11 years and just killed it.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the same place the same state, I should say, that Richard grew up in, right? Was that Florida?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went down to Naples, Florida, and that was even cooler why I can relate to Richard so much. Living in Florida for 11 years, oh, my God, just finding employees. I worked at one body shop down there for 4 years. The first year, I rose to number 2 in the company, and I fired 19 body men.
Damn.
And I was probably half their age.
So you were half their age. Can you tell us when you went to the trade school, like what year that was, maybe?
I graduated early from school because I kind of went to didn't get expelled, sure, but I was on this fringe school. So I just buckled down for 2 weeks and got my diploma. I think it was 2002 is when I went and got my trade, and I was done by 2003 with a minimal debt of $18,000 for my trade, and then was able to pay that off in 1 year.
Wow, dude. In 1 year, that's impressive, man. And
yep.
I know we talked on the phone, a couple of times for maybe like an hour and a half total, but it's really cool that someone like yourself, like you mentioned, sure, you've got an employer technically, but you're not doing the hourly wage, mm-hmm, like most people.
No, you will not get ahead. You will not be happy, in my opinion, because all those hours, once you start figuring out the timelines it's going to take and how healthy you're going to have to be this entire time and not miss any time, it just becomes pretty hard to really grasp, like, well, how am I going to get out of this? And I remember that being an hourly employee. I think my first job, I was a dishwasher at a retirement home. And I believe everybody should have that job first. your first job, you should be taking care of the elderly. These jobs kind of just continue to build your morals as you go.
That's exactly right. And I know you and I shared in common that before I had my first official job, I was working. I've got three older brothers, and my oldest one was my oldest brother, when he was in high school, had a like a landscaping company, and so I would do odd jobs for him, and mow lawns and stuff like that. But it's cool that you were smart enough to, I don't know, go against the grain, because myself, I share that similarity with you, and in common that, if most of the people are going this way, I'm usually going this way, like the one guy going that way. And it's nice to be able to think for yourself, and fall on your face, and learn what's gonna be successful for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think probably the first time I recognized that I was an entrepreneur was back in junior high when I started buying candy. I didn't know, and all the other kids didn't have money to buy their own candy, and I could sell single pieces of candy at school for a pretty good lick.
Yep.
And then that's what evolved into ordering 50 pizzas, having them delivered to my car in the parking lot at high school. This is why I eventually got kicked out, is because they told me I'm not their their students are not my market. And
They weren't
yeah,
getting their share.
well, I had even offered it. A couple of
Yeah.
the professionals would take an Arby's sandwich or something like that, whatever my special was of the day.
Sure.
I was coupon king.
That's really cool that you mentioned that. I didn't know about that before when you and I talked on the phone. My oldest brother, he did that as well. Like, I think it was actually like middle school was when he started doing it. But back in the day, which is funny because I'm only 24, but yeah, back in the day, you could get like a full size, not a king size, but just a full size candy bar for four for $1 or something like that. And my brother and us, we'd go to the grocery store and buy, I don't know, $20 worth of candy, and he would sell it for $1 to his friends. And I don't think he ever, it's kind of like a middle school and junior high time of his life that he did that. But that's cool that you were successful doing a similar thing.
Oh yeah, I took it further too. I would even at my body shop jobs or any job that I was at, I would watch to see what people are drinking. I would watch to see what they were eating, and then I'd turn around and go on Amazon and pretty much buy half of a pallet of it. I'd have it at such a ridiculous price, and I just set up my store right at my toolbox. Whatever you got, I have it.
That's really cool. And
Yeah.
especially like, yeah, if you're a worker and you're on the clock and whatnot, if someone else is offering, it's kind of like with like crypto. Like, there was Bitcoin and all these other altcoins for such a long time, but Richard Hart, he's offering something better. He's for the analogy for you, like offering something that might be their same lunch item. You mentioned like an Arby's sandwich, like to give someone that convenience and to give them the luxury, but also providing like a good service. It's a win-win
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, that's how I saw it, and I knew that I had really struck a chord well when the principal or an employer would say, "You can't do this," and I'm like, "Well, I'm keeping your employees or your students on the property. They could run away. You might as well just have me do the running, and everything's fine."
Right, man. And
Yeah, they didn't
yeah,
like.
well, it's yeah, it's cool that you did that. So you've been doing that, and you mentioned you went to Naples. What you said, 3 times within an
Yeah,
11-year span?
three different times. Because then I got hip. Um, each company was throwing us out huge sign-on bonuses. So all of a sudden, it didn't pay to be loyal anymore.
Sure.
You were losing money if you weren't hop skipping it around once or twice a year.
Right.
And
Okay.
oh my God,
That's
wow.
cool, man. It's crazy that you mentioned that. Like sometimes people
Mhm.
don't realize I mean, yeah, it's great for you, but it's funny how that's the opposite thinking for like what a company would want.
Correct.
You would think that, oh, like because I know a lot of business owners and have had family members that have owned a lot of businesses. Usually you want to
Retain.
incentivize them to stay. So it's cool that you're able to really maximize all of that. So I guess, yeah, that's a great little introduction to your past. um I guess, what are you up to nowadays?
Well, at the moment, freed myself from the 9 to 5. I left those corporations. Hex has allowed me to do that. How I arrange my staking ladder, and then I've already been in place for my future plans. If Hex really was to do its thing, I have 3 different people I can work for that are fixing houses or doing some type of maintenance stuff. I can just walk in, and then I also drop my toolboxes off at a custom body shop. So just like a hexologist was saying of starting your own custom hex or this or that, I can do that at this store. At any of those corporations that I've worked for in the past, I would need approval to bring my car into the detail bay to wash it. I would need approval to even do my mother's vehicle. It was such a hassle. The corporations push us good guys away because some of those very small fringe benefits, that's why we're there. We're not there to make, pump your bags. We're there to
Right.
pump our bags.
Yep. That's very true, man. So okay, so you said Hex has allowed you to kind of work for yourself or things like that. How long ago was that you had that opportunity?
Um, it was about 6 or so weeks ago.
Okay.
I had a chance to secure some months in advance, and then I've already had savings. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to take the winter off here and see what really happens.
That's
You know,
cool.
and involve myself more in the community because I believe like I'm probably the guy that you want to reach out for. Blue collar, the 50,000 or $70,000 a year guy.
Right.
I could probably share with everything that I did, and it'll probably end up working out for y'all too.
Dude, that's great, man. And I think the chat and anyone that watches this after would love to hear that. I mean, what kind of I guess what kind of I don't know, information, or I shouldn't say recommendation, but say if you were, someone in my shoes or someone that's say in the Hex community and they want to do a similar thing, but they're kind of scared on how to start. I guess, what kind of information would you have to provide to them?
I would probably start off first with cutting out the alcohol. You're going to
Sure.
be a little
Yeah.
less emotional.
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to have better sleep on top of it, which we all need that. And if you
True.
can wake up early in the morning or figure out wherever your time zone is for these fees or these dips,
Yeah.
sometimes I notice things that other people don't just from a certain timing. Maybe that guy that's dumping that coin lives in this time zone, and then
Right.
I'll hunt it, like a video game addict.
That's
And
cool.
it's really just being consistent every day, no
Yeah.
matter how big, no how small. If you only got $100, well, you can space that out with $10 buys, and just maximize what little money you can. And pretty much that's how I got here. I didn't miss a day until I either one ran out of money or had to put tires on the truck,
Sure.
or some new tool came out from Snap-on. I just need it because of the trade.
Right.
But
No,
yeah,
that's cool,
consistent.
man. I mean, I think that's really good advice. Especially for like I'm 24, turned 24 on October 24th, but yeah, that's good advice about either cutting out completely or limiting as much as possible things that are a detriment to your health or to your psyche, which I guess is part of health too. But not only to your health, but to your wealth as well. How much money like does the average person spend on their recreation, whether it's you know pot, cigarettes, alcohol, the whole gambit? I mean, to your point,
Yeah.
If someone has the motivation to become successful and change their paradigm and their worldview, they can, but they just got to start.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm a normal dude. Well, after me and my 5-year relationship, we broke up, and I was in Florida. I was by myself. The first thing I did was stop drinking alcohol.
Yeah,
I always hated hangovers anyway.
yeah,
Well, over a period of time, I figured out I get 52 weekends.
yeah, yeah.
All you guys are hung over doing nothing. Y'all sleeping. Well, guess
Right.
what? Nardo lined up 30 houses to paint over those 52, and that's where I pulled away from you.
Wow, dude.
This is how I do it. You
Yeah.
know, going out at night, I used to run with all them boys, and a lot of just nothing good happens.
Right, man.
You might have 2 or 3 stories out of 15 years, but you got scars that go on for decades.
Yeah,
So the quicker you can cut that out and delay that gratification of, enjoying yourself,
sure.
this is going to give you that 2-year window where you could really buckle down with HEX, dollar cost average in, and then next thing you know, you're in a rotation that you didn't really think was possible, and you did that on probably $20 a day.
So let me ask you, kind of personal, but still related to that. So, say for yourself personally, have you cut out alcohol completely, or I know you said about after the relationship.
Yeah, pretty much. I cut out alcohol completely for 4 years, and then
Okay,
just within this last 2 years, I've let my guard down enough that I
sure.
might do a shot with friends,
Okay,
because
yeah.
I'm just kind of tired of getting picked on.
Right, right, right. I know what you
It-
mean, man.
right. But then again, that alcohol, it burns down, it's going down.
Right.
It ain't for me.
Yeah, I definitely I understand that completely, and I feel very similar with that and many other things. I mean, unfortunately, especially for someone like that's like in my generation or just a little bit younger. The only
Yeah,
reason I say it for this reason is with the advent of social media and the smartphones and everyone having a screen in their face all the time. People are there's just so much advertising that goes out saying that, like, oh, this is what your life should be like, and this is what is advertised as like fun and as like a good time, or like
yeah,
what your life should be like. But in reality, you mentioned that you buckled down, you had a goal in mind, and it's cool that you were able to work towards that achievement and continue working towards that.
yeah, yeah. Still do, even today. Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. So okay, you got in on Hex in day 3, and you said you did an average, right? Like a dollar cost average.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about how you maybe did that, or what your strategy
Well,
was?
I paid attention. I was one of those marshmallow winter kids with the advent calendar. I wouldn't eat any of the chocolate until Christmas Day. I could go that much further.
Nice,
So
man.
I, by design, with my IT guy missing out and being late, it worked even better to my plan, because day one, everybody got overextended. Everybody, I heard the echoes through the internet. So I was
Right,
like, all right, well, here we go. My buddy Brian's coming along. Here we are, day 3. It's these huge drops, and everybody was like, oh man, we can't. Why are you getting involved in this? Look how far it's down from the first day. And that's why I'm just shaking my head. I was like, no, this is when you buy. This is not when you point fingers and make up things. This is when you slow cost rolling. So what I did was similar to Hododog. I did a .1 average, and then my first original buy day, I think it was 2,500 Ethereum was in the contract that day, and that was my marker. So anything below 2,500 Ethereum, I'm rocking. And
right.
then we hit that point where it's like we were below 1,000 Ethereum in the contract a day. Well, that's when I stepped up my average and started doing 0.5 of Ethereum.
Sure.
And then I would never forget this. I got in the Telegram chat. And I usually, don't say much, but I got in there and I was like, why are you guys running Hex price up over 2,500 coins, man? That's my average price.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys came back on. He said, Hex may never be this price again. And that's when it just blew my mind. The FOMO started going in, and
That's cool.
but that's when also Coinbase started holding my money for like 7 days. So I had to average that into my averaging over here.
Right.
So
That's cool, man.
yeah, it was a good time.
So yeah, a little bit of an update in the chat. So Richard Hart just shared out the stream as well. So just wanted to say thank you, Richard. I appreciate everything that you've done. Been a follower. We can kind of ask you how long you've been a follower of Richard as well. But yeah, when I got into crypto in March of 2017, I found Richard maybe, I don't know, like a month later, 2 months later, when I got into crypto Twitter. And just want to say, like, if you're still watching this, thank you, man. Hex is not only one of the greatest opportunities and experiences and communities, but the other information Richard has shared as well, like the sci-vive and just some of the personal development and information has almost kind of been like a digital mentor.
100%. And it happened to me. When I was getting out of that bad, or not that bad, but that long relationship in Florida, and I found myself alone, blah, blah. Well, I had also figured out in the big scheme of my life, I was addicted to Battlefield, that PS4 game. And that was pretty much what killed my relationship is, me doing no footers on the weekends and double point weekends and all this. And that's when I found some of his videos. And while I was playing YouTube, man, I just hit subscribe right then and there. And that was the first time I believe I had somebody, guide me, the digital mentor. And then I self-confidence came back, kept watching the videos over and over again. Yeah, Nardo, you got this. And oh my God, then I let go of the gold and silver, and here we go. Bitcoin.
It's that's amazing, man. And it's cool that we've got things like the internet and people like Richard Hart that were willing to, he didn't have to. He could have done, he could have been retired this whole time. And long story short, yeah, I appreciate the people that step up to the wheel. And especially one of the things that Richard talks about is once Hex hits a like the snowball effect, the snowball's going down the hill and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Once one of the things he's talked about is once Hex is done and it's in the mainstream and all that, we should be focused on like longevity and you mentioned cutting out the alcohol or whatever it is. Richard definitely has that outlook on life that's similar to Hex, where it's a long-term outlook, whereas most people, they're just thinking about tomorrow or the next hour and what they're going to do that night.
Yeah. Diet really helps too, depending on what climate you're working in. I'm from up north, and having me down in Florida, especially the subtropical zone, it was very difficult for me to withstand those working conditions. And once I figured out I could eat salads or chicken wraps at lunch and not do any type of like cooked grease, hamburgers or any of that, dude, now I could last all day. And then next thing you know, I'm beating everybody around me. Who is this? They always said, who is this Yankee down here, beating all of us? And I was like, I think I heard respect is what I heard. And yeah, my name's known down there too. So if I need a job, they know Nardo. We can go back anytime.
That's cool, man. Not only does it seem like you've, they say like don't burn bridges and things like that. Like not only, does it seem you've established relationships and kind of built that with wherever you've gone, but you mentioned that you've always kind of, I don't know, you said like done the opposite or kind of went in your own way. And I think Richard's done, well, I shouldn't say I think, but yeah, Richard definitely has done that similar thing as well. Even just in like the crypto community, he was the Bitcoin maximalist and things like that for X amount of time. And then when he updated his worldview and when he realized some of the changes that were happening in the technology, all of a sudden he was the one that him and the other people that were going that way, they were doing the opposite of the majority of the, the influencers and of the masses. And it can really reward you if you do jump outside of your comfort zone. You mentioned the diet and health, cut out the alcohol and or limit it and do things that'll make your life happy in the long run, in the longer term, as opposed to short-term happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all a big deal.
Right, man. So yeah, kind of getting back into Hex a little bit. So you said you got in on day 3, you did an average. Let's talk a little bit more about this. So when you were saying that between like 1,000 and like 25,000 Ethereum in the adoption amplifier, range, you were kind of averaging in, and when it went higher than the 25,000 threshold, what were your, I don't remember like specifically like what month or day it was, but what were your thoughts at that time? Did you said a little bit that you averaged into it when it was going higher as well, the 2,500 and up?
Yeah, I bought, I believe at every single price point Hex has been at so far, just because I continue the averaging. But yeah, man, it's anything you can do. Like I said, whether it's 5, 10, 12, $30 or $100 or as low as 65 cents.
Right.
Back then the gas fees were only a penny for me. So, I have probably one of the coolest stakes. It's pretty hilarious, but I spent a penny on a penny's worth of Hex, and I staked it for 10 years. And that thing's worth, I think it's $4.98.
Wow, dude.
So,
And honestly, that's it's what Richard has talked about all along, that cryptocurrency is the highest appreciating asset that the world's ever seen. And Bitcoin, sure, it was like the first and all of these things in 2009, 2010, but it's cool that Bitcoin, I mean, with it hitting 24,000, that's 2.4 million X from under a penny, and people are naive to history.
correct.
I was saying last night in a stream that sometimes to have a analysis or speculation or some sort of prediction on the future, you need to look at the past. And when Richard developed Hex, he evolved into Hex. He was doing something before Hex that was a little bit different and that was more complex. And it's cool that he pivoted. He updated his worldview, and then he looked at the traditional finance system. What's popular. We got certificate of deposits.
Yeah. I remember watching all that unfold. I was kind of like a fly in the room and straight. And
Yeah.
I don't know. As soon as that thermodynamics guy came on, that's what really just rocked my world, because I've always been a fan of like Bill Nye the Science Guy. Well,
yeah, exactly.
This is the wizard of science right here, in my opinion.
Right.
And I just kept putting myself in those rooms where I had no idea what was going on. Your vocabulary grows. Everything just seems to flourish after that. But yeah, we watched it all happen.
That's true, man.
I still remember all the hate from Bitcoin Hex. Oh my God, the Maxis were so pissed.
And it's funny sometimes when they they hate or they slander and things like this. Little do they realize when they criticized Richard about Bitcoin Hex and, oh, you're still in Bitcoin's brand name, is that they from Richard taking that that information and switching it from Bitcoin hex to hex, I mean, that was one of the best things that could have been done from a brand and from a marketing standpoint that Richard has done.
Yeah, if you would have told me that in the moment, I probably would have laughed a little bit, and I would have said we need it. And yeah, here we are further down the line, and yeah, who would have known that was 100% the best choice that could have happened.
So that's really profound what you mentioned, that you don't know what day it was. It doesn't matter necessarily, but you said that you staked 1 penny of hex for X amount of time, and it's now worth what, $4.98, you said?
Yeah, I did a day 4.
Okay.
Yeah, that was yeah. I say I'll send a screenshot or something after the thing. It's hilarious.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But
We can definitely do that private off air. What don't
I was
have
gonna say,
share.
and I did that penny thing because of my stepdad, because
Okay.
he's always yeah, man, if you're gonna go in, have your bank account or your bag over here, but have your calling card. Do something just a little so different that you have a conversation starter. Yeah, I did a penny. Let's see what a penny's worth is going to be in 10 years. And yeah, we'll just see what happens in 10.
Yeah, dude, that's really cool. So I guess to get back to that, you mentioned previously, for those that may be just joining now, that your stepdad, if I recall, had coins, Bitcoin in Mt. Gox. And have you talked with him about crypto since then, or have you talked
Oh
with him
yeah,
about Hex and things like that?
I have. It's been different over that
Sure.
story because he wasn't able to claim on Mt. Gox because of the paperwork filing.
Right.
But he's wanted me to get him into some coins, and sure enough, when I got him into those, it was the most parabolic rise that you could have ever seen. Because I like round numbers,
Yeah.
and stepdad, he was like, "Well, I want this one." I was like, "All right, we'll put $600 in it, so we're at a round number." Next thing you know, in 8 months, he's got 20-something thousand,
That's
and
so cool.
he rode that one into the bridge.
Sure.
2017, our whole family got hurt by a one of these crypto coins that everybody got in. It turned out to be a rug pull, and it just nobody really went back.
Yeah.
So I've kept my nose to the grindstone the entire these years since, and yeah, waited for Hex to come out, and I still had, I think, maybe like $1,400 from some Zcash miner money I was doing a while back, and it had
Sure.
really tanked. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna put $300 into in Hex for my stepbrother, stepdad, and mom. These were the 4 of us that did the mining rig and all that stuff, and it didn't work out. But yeah, that $300, they
That's
won.
awesome, man.
They won. They all won.
Well, and to Richard's point, like, say if you were to have had a Bitcoin, say for example, when it was $1, and you held it all the way until the $24,000 price, like, people like Richard mentioned that if someone's in early, that's great, but if you sell early too, then what difference does it make?
Correct.
And it's nice that you learned from 2017, and I did as well. Like, I think sometimes that the best lessons in life to learn, sometimes you can't learn from someone else's experience. You're too stubborn or naive. You need to learn it on your own. And for myself, yeah, I think the best learning lessons are sometimes the most expensive ones. So it's cool that you persisted through, because some people, and a lot of people did, they just gave up. And honestly, the market, up until Hex, I was not even very burnt out. I'm tired of watching these stupid YouTube influencers that are doing all these dumb faces. And Richard was the only one that I still had a follow of. And I'm glad that I kept following him and kept watching his video and his content. I mean, I've gone back and rewatched nearly all of his videos, and it's really cool to see that someone like Richard not only do I like sense that the man is genuine in all of these things, but his actions and his history proves that to the haters and to the people that are slandering Richard. Like, just do your own research and look at what this person has provided for free, and it says a lot about Richard.
Yeah, I really didn't have, like, I've always liked daily income, so I guess that's why I like Genesis mining so much when I first got into this.
Sure.
And as soon as I was starting to hear the price calls and gaining confidence over my new digital mentor, being Mr. Hart,
Yeah.
I started holding those bags, and I started, drifting and doing my own thing. And next thing I know, I had collected almost 2 Bitcoin. And with him, with his 20,000 K price call, Nardo let it go at 18,880.
That's awesome.
Just to make sure that I was able to get out, because I've involved myself with so much training and been in the rooms with so many people that have failed, waiting on these whole numbers of a 20,000 even.
Right.
There's no time for decisions. You already have to be in that limit order set or wherever you're at, or go out early.
Yeah, man.
Because also too, my big problem was Ethereum. I had bought Ethereum at $3, and my mentor said Ethereum was junk.
Really?
Yeah, and
you're saying Richard, yeah.
Yeah. So this was one of our that we never communicated about, but eventually I ended up capitulating at 120, and I still think that was probably one of my legendary moves right there, of just holding that long. But
yeah, that's awesome, Nardo, and that's really cool. Something that I can kind of relate to with that was, wasn't Ethereum at a couple bucks, but Hex was my saving grace, man. Like in 2017, I got wrecked to absolute shit, and sometimes, like I said, you got to learn lessons, and with crypto specifically, or any market, it seems, for that matter. But it seems like, say, if you're a first-time home buyer, or you heard about Bitcoin in March and you end up FOMOing in December, it seems like a lot of people, they end up buying the top or the start of the bear market. And long story short, it's cool that you had previous successes in other projects that you did well on, aside from just Hex.
And I believe Hex was also my saving grace as far as the crypto realm or trade, because everybody pretty much left after 2017, and I got a lot back just for staying in it.
Same here, man. Yeah.
So and then just going full mode, and believing in Hex on day one. Whoever knew it would have come out like this. But I never really had too many people to talk to, so I was always stayed in my own lane. I never shared information with anybody, really, because I didn't want to hear it from nobody no more. Where I live or the people that I'm around, this is all hocus pocus.
Yeah, man. I did a very similar thing as well. I mentioned having multiple family members, and some of the members specifically were more vocal than others, and long story short, I was very similar that you mentioned, where I'm not like a evangelist in 2017 about here's what I'm doing with crypto. It was kind of like me just in my own lane. And so when I had people that I knew get wrecked in holding through the bear market, when I got into Hex, like I was kind of just doing it, like I mentioned, as my saving grace. But now those same people, they unfortunately they get bitter or salty that they missed out on the gains. And one thing Richard's mentioned a lot is like, hey man, if you want to count your losses, or someone else's, or shoulda, coulda, woulda, it'll be infinite. But what are you going to do today to make up for that?
Correct. I think that's what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing today to make up for me never getting a 401k after 2006. when my money got stole from me that day. I don't have a retirement. All I have is a good work ethic, and I'm healthy right now, but that can change at any moment. So Hex, I lined it out. Yeah. Laddered it up 15 years and then just kept going back and forth, filling gaps everywhere. Because I don't know how the future is going to go.
In the first time that I called you between those 2 days, Thursday and Friday, we were talking a little bit about that. Can you maybe share? Because for someone like myself, I'm 24. When the the most recent, like 2008 and all that stuff happened, my parents were realtors, and long story short, I don't really have the memory of like what it was like to go through that. Can you explain what you just said, that you lost the
Yeah.
retirement and stuff like that, please?
Yeah, I guess the first time it happened was 99. Everybody had songs out and everything. The world's over, 1999. Well, that didn't happen, but some computer software stuff got messed up. So something did happen.
Right.
I remember my parents talking about it, but I was still too young. But then when 06 came around and I was working, I'd already did the college trade, invested, paid stuff off. I think I had like maybe 13,000 or something like that in my 401k just from starting in college or the collision trade.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, 2006, whatever that event happened, I woke up and I had $3,000.
Yeah, man.
I didn't hear nobody break into my house or
Right.
anything like that. So I'm expecting, who do I fight?
Yeah.
Point them out and we'll box it out. There's nobody there.
Right, man.
You just got your money taken. And I remember my parents saying that they had like 100,000 ripped out of their pensions because they were educators. So with all my other friends of my parents being also educators or people in the counties and stuff like that, man, dude, they just got robbed. The most loyal people that could ever be to a community are these teachers that go in every day and
Yeah,
deal
man.
with these heathens of kids. So, and I'm
The
like,
devil's
well, if those guys can get hurt, I need to find a better investment, or some physical way, or hold my own keys, with cryptocurrency, that I can protect myself, and I'll handle it if I take the loss. I
right.
can't handle it if somebody just gets in my bank account and takes it.
That's a very good point, man. And I think it is important, the advent of cryptocurrencies. And Richard shares the cypherpunk ideologies and ideals very, very closely. And he's a big proponent of tornado.cash, or just being able to have your own, not necessarily anonymity, but your own control without a middleman in between that ends up effing people 99% of the time. It's just a matter of time for most people, or the stock market, or Y2K, these things that you mentioned. When you're not in control of that asset, well, then it's just a digit on a screen. To your point, it went from 13,000 to 3,000, and you had no control of that. As well, if you at least, like for myself, that say with 2017, you might have did well in the beginning and then bought a little bit later, and held it all the way down. Well, at least if you held it all the way down and you didn't sell, then that is in my possession, in my control, for my decisions. But if you have the stock market or social security, things like this that are centralized and that are out of that person's control, then you're really just at the behest of someone else.
Yeah, you are.
So yeah, man. I guess, let's see. We covered a little bit about your background, and you said that about 6 weeks ago that Hex gave you the opportunity to do what? What was it? Be able to not work a job for 6 months, or can you?
Yeah, I just secured my assets just for the next 6 months, just to see how everything would go.
That's
It
awesome.
wasn't a huge amount of money, but just for how low I live my lifestyle, that's how far I can drag it out.
Right, man.
That was like my thing when I moved back up from Florida. I was renting a $600,000 house, paying outrageous money. But when I moved back
Yeah.
up north, I bought a $40,000 house. My
Yeah.
mortgage is only $300.
That's
And that
awesome,
just
man.
puts me in another position to win later if another opportunity comes up. And that's pretty much been the key to my life, is keep this low lifestyle that I can have every opportunity, and everything that I have, I can maximize it.
That's awesome. I mean, most people and a lot of people that I know, and unfortunately, I mentioned earlier that society conditions this and that it praises this, but people live above their means.
Mhm.
They're spending just vast amount of money that they wouldn't need to for a luxury or for a brand or a logo. And it's cool that someone like yourself was able to change the $600,000 house in Florida to a $40,000 house somewhere else. It's cool that in the same country, United States, you can have 50 different states. And hey, if it's kind of like what Richard mentioned about like meritocracy and markets and things like that. Like if this one area is maybe getting too expensive and you see an opportunity elsewhere, well then you can just take the successful thing that you did that worked here and bring it to the next environment that's going to give you a better opportunity to scale.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, me saving up my money was a big deal, because in Florida, people move and they come and go each year. So I knew I had to have all my money saved up, just in case if they had some lucrative items, I could buy it for cheap.
Right.
And sure enough, those events happened every single year in Florida.
That's cool. So I guess what is, if you don't mind, like would you mind like sharing like what is something that like what is a big mistake you made or a big regret you made that you might have learned from and might be able to share with someone like myself? Like you mentioned earlier about the alcohol that you
Mhm.
realized, hey, there's 52 weeks in a year, and that you had some of the hobbies and the side jobs that you were doing, the painting, but you mentioned that when you stopped doing the thing that you were doing every weekend or how often, you were able to maximize your productivity. Do you maybe have any other, on the spot, any other experiences that are similar that you might be able to share?
I think at the moment, that's probably the best thing I got.
Okay,
You
yeah,
know, uh,
perfect.
Taking care of yourself, yeah, not partying the night away, going to bed. All of those things
Right.
add up to more IQ points, because you're not
Yeah,
hungover, you're not tired, better groceries, you're not starving. So all these things, it's going to put you in a different ball game, where you're going to have to figure out your new life, because yeah, you weren't functioning like that before. Um,
yeah, man.
but really, I guess any other type of advice is just don't be scared to talk to people.
Yeah,
You know, I know through coins and communities I've been in through my past, I've made a lot of friends. But then again, some of these things that I would ask, um, it's just a normal, good morale question. Well, a lot of
sure.
people didn't like that. And,
Yeah,
they
man.
would ban me or kick me out of their groups, even though come to find out they were all scams either. So
Yeah.
anything you can do.
Well, it unfortunately, Richard's mentioned this a lot, but it really goes to show you, unfortunately, where cryptocurrencies are as a whole. Because Hex is obviously surpassing the hell out of any expectation and any other cryptocurrency project. Hex is a product, but I mean, Richard's mentioned that the from his experience that the people that actually do talk about price very rarely are the honest people, and the majority of them are scammers. And
They are.
it just surprises me for all of the hypocrites that are out there, the influencers. They make a YouTube video shilling a whole bunch of shit coins, and then they say, make sure you do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. All of these things, and yet those are the same people it's actually projection, but those are the same people willing to yell scam without doing 5 minutes of research.
Correct.
So yeah, I think that's cool, man. Thank you for giving that bit of advice, the life story about the things that you can limit and things that you can be successful on, because you mentioned that you have some friends that are in Hex too, right? And they're kind of averaging in maybe some of that beer money, maybe.
Oh yeah, I got a couple of them that turn it off for a little bit. Not as much as I wanted them to, but they're trying. And then
Right.
I also have some of my other bosses that I've worked for. They're coming into it slowly as well. And I told them my dollar cost average technique. They're going about it similarly. Hopefully it
That's
works
awesome.
out for them.
That's cool, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I mentioned earlier that, yeah, in other cryptos, I I was in them and I thought they were cool. The technology was cool, but never, like, I don't know, like preached it to anyone, or was like Richard jokes about, or not Richard, but Hexologist jokes about, like the Mormons and knocking on the doors and stuff like this. And long story short,
Yeah.
people, they noticed a change in my demeanor and my personality and my outlook when I had really gotten like serious and involved in Hex, the community, not just being a part of Hex by being a member of the staker class, but also joining the community. And that's one thing that you mentioned that maybe you can elaborate on, is that you said more people should be willing to open up and kind of talk with some of the members in the community.
Yeah, I believe even myself, I mean, because this is what I went through. Um, I didn't know how valuable or anything that my Joe Schmo ass, what do people want to hear or see? But come to find out, it was really just that consistency and just participating every day.
Right.
I didn't have to know every single exact thing, but now looking back, I probably could have helped out quite a bit more.
That's cool, man. And I guess another thing to ask you. So you said that you took about 6 months worth of an allowance, like a buffer period that you won't need to go back to work. What were you doing in the meantime that you were telling me? Like you're able to work for yourself, maybe, or kind of just what
Yeah,
you do nowadays?
I was going to say, I've been a house painter,
Okay.
interior, exterior, my whole career. That's after I stopped drinking. That's where I can do instant gratification jobs that don't take much. I can be in and out in a day. Um, so I just had a brain fart.
No
What
worries.
was the
So
question?
let me elaborate. So you mentioned that uh, when you had stopped drinking alcohol,
Mhm.
you had kind of had the opportunity to do something that you liked, which was painting. And I know you and I, when we were talking on the phone, one of the things that the viewers may or may not know, but yeah, I did painting for 6 months throughout a summer and a little bit extra, but I also sold the product as well for like 2.5 years. And can you just tell us, the reason I mention this is because there's a difference. Can you tell us the difference between, without maybe going into it too much, but the style of painter you are? It's a brush and roll as opposed to like an airless sprayer. Can you tell us why you do that, and like how you're able to get in and out so quickly when you paint?
Um, I guess because with my dad being a coach and also a teacher, it just instilled teamwork in me right from the very get.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're first, second, third string. I myself was a third stringer, so I had to know the playbook more than anybody.
Yeah.
But like when you go on a paint job with me, I'm hyping it up as it's a game,
Yeah,
and
man.
I'll go around, and if it depends on how many employees I have. If all of a sudden I get that epiphany in my head, hey boys, we can complete this in a day if y'all need to bust your ass right now. So I
Right.
would just tell my guys, hey, I've already made my 200 today. That's what I've worked for my entire life, was just to try to get $200 a day. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, it is on. It's go time. Um, You know, I'll be walking around even though I'm cutting in. Well, I'll grab the 5-gallon and I'm refilling my other guys that are rolling. You know, so it's this one motion. Everybody's helping each other. There is no hiccups. I'll be moving around. I can see my guy is going to need to move a ladder. I just go ahead and do it 3 steps before he can even get the sentence out. And we just keep challenging each other like that. And then also too, with them getting a huge bump in pay compared to just a normal hourly thing. Oh, these boys fight for me night and day. We don't even have to be painting. We can just be at Walmart. You know?
Yeah.
It's go time. Woo!
That's cool, man. And yeah, when we were talking earlier, you know, one thing, I've never been like super I've never like had many businesses or things like that, but my 3 older brothers have, at least 2 of them, and then my dad and mom did. They were realtors for like 25 years each. One of the things that you mentioned was kind of like, not necessarily like the camaraderie, but you're doing painting, you realize that you want to scale a little bit more, you need an assistant. And can you talk about the have you always had that that mentality where you'd split it with them, or like when did you learn, and maybe it was from your dad, but when did you learn that that was the right way to go? Because most people, they're just paying, you know, they're the boss dog that's taking a lot of it, and they're paying their employees an hourly wage, and they're not necessarily motivated.
I guess it was kind of weird, but I could never find a perfect employee.
Sure.
I couldn't. And I could never really yell at people like my previous employers to be a better employee. I'm not going to yell at you. I got to motivate you somehow. And there's got to be something. Roast beef sandwich, you know, Hooters at lunch. I got to find whatever you're wanting.
Right.
And really, it just turned into, hey, I know all kinds of painting contractors. I know all of their employees.
Yeah.
And they like me more than all of them. Well, guess what? Money's on the table now, you know, and I get people that want to work for me. And that's the biggest deal. And then to have that little extra during the day, you know, hey, if you can knock out these X and X rooms, it's your call where we're eating today. You know,
Right.
Hey, Johnny, you look tired. If you want a break, go get us all Gatorades. I'll find whatever their body language is telling me. And it just seems to be a win.
That's cool. And when I mentioned my, you know, parents doing real estate and whatnot, one of the things my dad's always mentioned, and his dad mentioned as well, who fortunately is still alive, but yeah, business, it's for a business to be sustainable and to be successful. Richard's mentioned this many times about scammers, but with business, it's the opposite of a scammer. Business is supposed to be good. Business is supposed to be a win-win, you know, not a win-lose, or the other person, they don't feel motivated, or they feel like they got you know, cheaped out compared to the other person. It's cool that that you understood that, because from my observation, you know, Richard understands the same thing, and he's in the chat rooms. I mean, he's always mentioning, oh, t.me / Richard Hart, or just slash. But it's cool that even someone like himself, like I said, he didn't have to do Hex. He didn't have to, you know, even be a part of the community after it was launched. But I think it's really cool that he has stuck with the community, and something that he's fostered into what it is. It's really lifting all of us up. He's like the, you know, that boat that's up there, and the tide, the rising tide raises all the ships. And it's really cool to see a lot of us like evolve and grow and expand, not just in Hex, but in other areas too.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I believe that's happening. There's a better way.
Exactly. Kind of an off-topic point. So before we talked, you know, X amount of weeks ago about coming on a stream and kind of hanging out, I was looking at your Twitter, and do you have a pet raccoon or a little friend there? Can you talk a little about that guy? He's cute as hell, man.
Yeah, man. My stepbrother's wife owns that raccoon. It was I forget how it happened at the shelter, but it was one of those they were going to put it down or give it away, and she took it. And
Nice.
that little guy has been awesome.
Yeah.
They live in a smaller town than I do. I'm in a town of 3,000. They're in a town of 300.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. Yeah,
And
yeah.
this raccoon, man, it'll be outside. People wave to it and honk to it. I mean, it's the
That's
coolest
cool.
thing. Got
That's
better
awesome,
table
man.
manners than the kids.
Yeah. I see him, man. I see him eating
Yeah.
the what is it, peanuts or some sort of cashew or something? Or
Yeah.
what's he
Pretty
eating?
much a big bag of trail mix. And that
Okay.
little guy, he'll push all the almonds out. He'll separate them because they're just, I guess, a little harder than the other
Okay,
nuts. He'll
yeah.
eat those last. It's crazy.
That's cool, man. Well, and it goes to show you like that as an example, but just in general, when you give someone an opportunity, or you mentioned the raccoon would have got put down. Yeah, I know someone very close to me that had a similar thing with the cat, and I tell you what, that yeah, that cat's still alive, and it's a similar story where it's like had that second chance, and it has the opportunity in a good environment to flourish. And it's cool that that person that provided that opportunity.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've asked her a couple times if I could interview her and just
Yeah,
give me the runabout of what it's like day to day, and she's just nervous as hell.
exactly, man. Yeah, it's understandable. And to your point that you mentioned earlier about just recommending people, not necessarily recommending, but sometimes people like Richard Hart had mentioned that things like anonymity, like it's almost like a fallacy. Like to actually truly become anonymous, you have to do all these different things. And there's a lot of people that are out there that are like, the long story short is, one thing that Richard has mentioned is like when he actually came out and stopped trying to be anonymous and these other things, he felt more gratification and reward. And I think it's similar for what you just mentioned about someone's uncomfortable to do the interview, or they're uncomfortable to spend $5 on Hex because they want a pack of cigarettes instead, or a six pack. It's really cool to lead by example, even if our loved ones, even if they don't want to get in, or they have criticism. It's cool to do the same thing, defy the odds, or stand in the face of people that are yelling, and show them a true example of success, or doing your own thing that is working um, to the opposite of what they're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Nardo. We did cover a lot. I guess, what are you most excited for in Hex? Because we've established that you're an OG, been in on day 3. That was cool that you mentioned the calendar, right? The Christmas calendar, that you, instead of raiding the stash. I'll be honest. My little fat ass as a kid, when I was a kid, I'd take the rectangular calendar or square or whatever, and not cut out, but I'd undo the bottom seam, pull it out, and then
Oh,
and long story short, I took my dose of my daily dose, just all in one time. But what are you most excited for in Hex? Because clearly it seems that you're doing something that you like doing. I mean, you don't seem stressed out or anything. You seem like you got a real good head on your shoulders. Like, what's next for you in Hex, if anything?
I think I watched the Discourse Syndicate this morning because I went to bed. I couldn't stay up that late.
Yeah,
But
right.
I saw them towards the end of the video talking about a Tampa, Busch Gardens, or Universal
Yeah,
Studios. So I think it might have been like 6 in the morning. I was like, "Hey, Hexologist, I'm down. Throw me the date. I'll be there." But I think
yeah,
that's what
right.
I'm most interested in. I
Okay.
want to travel. I want
Yeah,
to go to the trade shows. I still don't know what kind of value or what I offer than just being a normal working class guy. And, this is what I did, which really isn't valuable. But yeah, I want to just get out there. I want to
That's
do the
cool.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, man. Hexorico. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, good night if we actually get some really decent gains. I want to buy a condominium down there, and yeah, have all the Hexicans, Hexoricans, all of us. You got
Yeah.
a place to go.
That's cool, man. That's it's really cool that you say that. I mean, like when I first started kind of making videos and joined RG3 stream a long time ago and finally felt inspired, like, okay, I want to give back now. I don't want to just be the the person that's just got the stakes and part of the staker class. Like, how can I give back to the community or to the product or to Richard that's given so much to me? And yeah, dude, appreciate you coming on, and I agree, man. I think the next step for Hexicans is just kind of bonding with each other, seeing what kind of value you can provide to each other, or what kind of things that you can provide even to the no coiners or to the people that might not be in the Hexican community. It's cool to meet someone face to face that you met with like from a community. Because for myself, RG3, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months ago, he was in Seattle when he was doing his work job, and I was like, hey man, if you want to hang out, let's grab a hamburger. And it's just really cool to not only have like a legit community, an authentic community from what I can sense in my people skills, but when you do it in person, it's just like it was on the internet. That person
Yeah.
is as real as they are. I'm saying specifically about RG3, but a lot of Hexicans too. I mean, a lot of us are kind of like a no bullshit type of personality, or to your point about not necessarily going the way that the herd's going and things like that. So I agree, man. I'm looking forward to more opportunities to visit Hexicans, face to face, or in Florida, things like that. Like that sounds like a blast.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking forward to this next week. I'm going to be working with a bunch of concrete guys, and this is probably going to be one of their last jobs before they get laid off for the winter. And I'm going to tell them about Hex, and I'll probably throw them 10,000 Hex coins, and just let them ride with it, and just keep them up to date, and give everybody a chance. Because that's another thing that a lot of people are going to find out here soon. If everything goes the way that they want it, and people are going to start building things, well, you're probably going to need to have an insider to those contractor works.
Mm-hmm.
Concrete bids. People can really overpay. It
Very
doesn't
true.
need to be like that. Same with getting a car fixed. There's a lot of us in this community that are really you don't know how helpful we're going to be until that day people come running and they need help.
That's exactly right. I'll allude to that point, or I guess I should say I'll build on to that point, but also just want to say, what's up, Dollar Cost, and Crypto Vince, and Hex Toshi, and Big Pep as well, and Steven and Simper Hex, and all of these people. I agree with what you said, Nardo, about sometimes say if someone's like down and they need help, like sometimes you need to just you need to have that bravery to ask for help before that person's willing. But how many times have it's cool how many times like Hexicans have reached out to me, or I've reached out to other Hexicans, like yourself, with trying to get them on a show or do a little live stream. And it's just really cool how many Hexicans are willing to say yes and come on, because I want to learn about, like, yeah, their story, and how can someone like yourself that's got an amazing story, what kind of value can that bring to the person on the other side, the person that's watching it. I think it's cool that, yeah, you're on here and sharing your story.
Yeah, I think I can get my confidence up pretty well. If I can ever figure out how to use this green screen, uh, this editing stuff is running me through the ringer, man. I'm about to just get somebody to remote access my computer and pay them hourly. Like,
Let me ask you. So, is the green screen for Maddie's event, or is it something that you're starting?
no, it was specifically for Maddie's event. I'm
Yep.
just
Yeah.
that early bird kid where I want the
Right.
most time to try to figure this stuff out because
Man.
it's so foreign to me.
Dude, same here, man. Like, even for someone like myself that's young and whatnot, like I similar to Richard. Like Richard and I have a lot of similarities where, yeah, I played a lot of video games and things like this. But yeah, long story short, yeah, I quit video games just as like the streaming was getting popular and things like that. And I'm it's foreign to me as well. The OBS software for streaming to have the chat overlay and to have the sound effects. But I'm doing the same thing, man, as you. I got the green screen for Maddie's event. It's cool. It's cool what he's hosting and what he's providing, for the community and to the community. And it's nice to step out of your comfort zone in that regard. Like the gaming laptop that I'll have here on Monday, as long as all the shipping goes the way that it should, that is something that's going to allow me to learn those new softwares and applications that I didn't have that opportunity before.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I got a couple hints of some different editing software, and I'm still researching YouTube ideas or tutorials on them. But
sure.
even still, after going through it, I'm still just not there. I guess it's probably because of just how old I am. But I don't know.
No,
I ain't giving up yet. I guess I got 15 years to figure it out.
that's cool, man. And yeah, what you said about not giving up. I mean, I mentioned earlier, I've my dad's alive, my mom's alive, but my grandpa on my dad's side is alive, and he turned 90 in November, like November 29th or 30th. And the long story short is, I commend someone like yourself, or even people in general that do this, but even with something complicated, you're willing to pivot and learn and take the time, even though it's frustrating, not knowing a new thing. Everyone has a learning curve, and myself included. But it really goes to show you like the perseverance and
Yeah.
things that you can learn from achieving that.
Yeah, I gave up Florida 3 years ago. That was kind of the reason why I moved back before I did a 3 month round, moving back down there. But
Sure.
we couldn't afford 24-hour care for my grandma anymore. So
Yeah.
when I moved back home, I was doing the weekends and the mornings, and my mom was doing the rest of it. And
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man.
you got to keep going, and you very well could be in that situation at some point, and you
Right.
need to at least to do the weekends. Uh,
Right, man.
Try it, man, because
No, it's yeah.
it's rough.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, you're definitely right about that. And yeah, fortunately, yeah, my grandpa still is with me, but my grandparents
Awesome.
on my mom's side, they died early. And long story short, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, sometimes, people like Richard, he might not have expected this loss to happen, or a pet, or this or that. And yeah, it's cool that Hex has given myself and I know many other people from just them sharing their experiences with me, but it's given us the opportunity, say for me specifically, to do things that I didn't have the opportunity to do before. Give back or donate a little bit to this person just having a kid, and things like that are not just so self-focused and self-centered like other like everyone else seems to be in the world. Like what Hex is doing and what the Hexican community and Space Force is showing. People like Ski Cat, people like RG3 and Hexologist doing weekly shows. I think that's really gonna propel and rocket off Hex to just continue going up and to the right, man. And at the end of the day, one thing Richard mentioned is like, okay, what's the absolute goal? It's health for your grandparents, or it's longevity. And what he mentioned was that, like, you got to give the people what they want first, which is mad gains, and price go up. And it's nice that we a lot of us in the community are going to be around, myself included, for Quattro Cinco and for the long term. But it's cool that even just after 1 year, some of us are able to kind of pivot and see, like, how else can we provide value, how else can we cross promote, like, instead of DLive, where everyone on DLive knows who the Hexicans are, like going to that other community and branching out to the Twitch. I mean, with people like gamers that have hundreds of thousands of followers, something like Hex in the community and what we're doing could really, and I think it will, but continue just inspiring people and motivating people and showing people that, hey, there's still some of us out there that actually do care. Richard Hart chose Hart for a reason, and it's cool that someone like himself, is doing a whole bunch of good for the world.
Yeah, yeah. Even as detrimental as all the video game hours that I played when I was younger, I kind of have a feeling I should bring that back out now, just because of where we're at with Twitch.
Sure.
And also having the mental high ground of incorporating Hex into it. It's not just about points or world site or whatnot. It's just what everybody's doing. And
right,
I kind of did that with my stepbrother's kids. I was giving them 5,000 Hex here and there just for them doing small chores for me at their property. Well, then I turned around at the end. I was like, how old are you? All right, you got 5 more years. We're doing a 5-year stake. You're buying your own car. You're going to tell all your other brothers how cool you are,
Yeah,
and
man.
just small steps. And unfortunately, I might have to let go of that addiction and turn the PS4 back on.
No, I mean, I feel it, and I totally, totally commend Hexicans that are, willing to put any ounce of effort into Hex, whether it be supporting Hex through being a member of the community, or whether it's joining other people's live streams or retweeting it, or
Anything.
even, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when I first started doing Twitter, I think it was like January 1st or something like that. I really didn't know what to do. I was shy, didn't really have confidence, all this other stuff. So really, I just kind of sat in the back. And
Right.
then next thing you know, as like maybe a month went by, I just started liking everybody's stuff. If I saw that you were a Hexican, in my opinion, you've been saying a lot of good things. Yeah, man, I got you. And that's
Right.
just how I went about it. I didn't get too worked up of not being as public or all that stuff at the beginning. Even
No,
though
yeah.
I probably should have till my deathbed.
Well, it's true, and sometimes, yeah, you like, for like my grandpa, he stumbled across one of my live streams the other day, and the reason that he stumbled across it is because I had always debated, like, should I, because when I do StreamYard, you can have multiple different platforms that you stream out to. And Facebook was always like, man, do I want to stream out to Facebook? Like, a lot of my,
Right.
parents' friends and a lot of people that I knew in high school, like, you got a couple thousand people that are really, really, they really know you. And those are the people that could really criticize the hell out of you. And long story short, yeah, making that change, my grandpa gave me a call the other day, and he's like, Bran, what's this Hex thing? And so him and I have talked about it a couple of times, but it's cool that for yourself, you mentioned, like, not just giving up when you hit a roadblock. Like, okay, the roadblock's here. How can we route around it, or how can we go through it? And for someone like my grandpa, it's cool that I was able to step out of that comfort zone with sharing to those specific friend group, the Facebook, and it's cool that it had an impact. And there's even people, besides that one instance that are like, man, what's Bran up to, man? Like he's never at he's not watching the football games, and he's not doing this stuff that all the other family members are doing, but I see that he's doing these live streams. Like what's up with that? And so it's cool that like I said, even if someone wants to like be skeptical or criticize things like that, that for myself, you can lead by example. And the haters or just anyone that doesn't want to give you attention or be in your corner, stay there. But let me lead by example and show you what this can do, because it's not just what the Mad Gains can do, but it's what we can do for each other and get back through that comfortability.
Yeah. I mean, you very well might find somebody that needs their house painted. You can call me up. I could be there in 24 hours. These are those connections and these business friendships that we're making at the moment. We might not realize it yet, but yeah, I mean, somebody might want yourself to go work for them because they've seen you for so long. You're there when you say you're going to be. You got a good head on your shoulders. Yeah, come to Florida. We need a BallietBran.
Right. Well, in speaking of that instance specifically, can you reach out to or can you at least comment here that you mentioned that within 24 hours, can you kind of give yourself an advertisement if someone in your area wanted to get their house painted, where would that be? Or do you feel comfortable?
Right. I guess I never really thought of it. All I have is my home phone number. Yeah, I guess I'll have to figure something out. I mean, I guess the easiest place to get a hold of me at the moment is on the Twitter.
Okay.
Exactly. I did reactivate my Facebook yesterday because I thought the election stuff was over. Now it might be clear to come out of the woods.
Exactly. I know what you mean there, man. I know what you mean there. Well, what I'm gonna do is, we can wrap this up. It's been a little over an hour and a half, and I feel like we've covered a lot of information and cool. got a lot out of it. But let me just do one last thing. Let me put in your Twitter channel for all of the platforms I'm streaming on. So for anybody, if anyone liked this interview or wants to know more about Nardo, or at the very least, you should follow him because he's a Hexican, and because you can tell after 2 hours this guy is genuine and whatnot. But yeah, for anyone that's interested, Nardo, his Twitter is linked below in the links below, and then it's also linked right there. So feel free to reach out to him if you did want to know more about the house painting, or just I guess anything else. So
anything.
Exactly. Well, that's cool, man. I appreciate you coming on.
I was going to say, probably one of the most valuable things that I can offer, if any Hexican is going to go buy a sports car or a car that's custom, anything like that, I could fly out and I could look at that vehicle and tell you what you're about to get into. The panels that have been replaced, customized, numbers matching, original paint, all of these things come into play for the value of that. A lot of people get burned on it. So you got to know what you're doing. So I know a lot of you guys always talk about cars. So you got a guy. His name's Nardo, and he can be there.
That's tremendous value, Nardo, because how many times have we heard that, like, and this is true, but if you buy a car brand new, the second you drive it off the lot, it's already depreciated. It's already the value of it. You couldn't sell it for what you just paid for. And my brother's best friend, his dad was a mechanic, and he would work on my brother's truck and things like that. And it's cool to have people that you can trust, because in any industry, whether it's crypto, whether it's mechanic, whether it's software, sales, any of it, I don't care what industry, there's always, there's what usually makes the louder noise are the scams or are the bad mechanics and things like that. But for someone like yourself, for any of the Hexicans, that's a hell of an offer, in my opinion. And especially if they message you and it happens to not be, that you need to fly so far, things like that, you could be saving someone potentially a lot of money.
Hundreds of thousands. Yeah, I mean, don't forget, a lot of the guys that I got coming into Hex, they really like these old school gold wing Mercedes, the lucrative James Bond ride. And I'm like, boys, there's only, I think, 3 of them in the United States at the moment. I think there's only 7 in the world.
Jeez.
So yeah, these are huge things, and everybody does replicas every year. They even send them off through Mecum auto auctions. Some of them get through, some don't. Lawsuits are filed. These things come about in our car trade, and yeah, just having a friend, it's super valuable. And on top of it, I want the vacation.
Yeah,
so
man.
We're both winning.
Well, tell you what, Motley Investor says, if I ever buy a car along those lines, I'm flying you out first class. And,
amen. Yeah, let's do it.
And to your point, that's a win-win situation. I mean, not only would you have the expense traveled, and would you be able to provide that first person value, but it's a win-win because, like you said, you might want to get out and do a little. Maybe once you're done looking at the car, you can get a burger with the Hexican, or travel to places you haven't seen before that you wanted to.
Yeah, and get some phones with our cameras rolling to give you recorded evidence of what somebody's seen. You don't really have to hear every single word I say. You just need to see this.
Right, man.
Because I've worked on some $1 million vehicles that had Folgers coffee cans welded into the rocker panels. They had a friend hook them up, and that's no longer $1 million Corvette.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I work with masons. The company that I work at is a masonry company. For bricks here downtown in Seattle, 90% of the bricks come from the company that I work for. And the reason I bring that up, because not only whether the same company, they provide landscape materials as well, but in any trade, to your point, the freaking Folgers cans, like, sometimes you might think that someone is in your corner and that they're going to have your back, and then all of a sudden you find out that they didn't put the lath before they didn't put the lath on, or they didn't put the water barrier. So now, a year later, that contractor that they hired, or the friend that they thought was their friend, well, now it's leaking water into their roof and things like that.
Yep.
So it's cool that someone like yourself has the experience, clearly, from all your years of doing this, that you could help someone confirm before they say yes, and before they sign, before they hand the cash over, that they are getting a good deal or good face value.
Yeah, and a big reason why I wanted to do that and share my experience is because one of my good buddy Noel already does it. He has I don't know if you looked at my Twitter, you'll find all these barn finds of these 63 Corvettes. It's kind of like the Eleanor or that unicorn of a Corvette. They all go for 300,000. It doesn't matter what shape.
I didn't see the rest, but I did see a tow truck that you. Sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned, like, hey, Hexicans, I just got this tow truck, or something about the tow truck, and you said that like, hey, if anyone needs their their Lambo or whatever, I can help them out. So that's cool.
Well, I got the tow truck idea from being in Naples, Florida. I watched all the million and billionaires ship all of their Bugattis and their Lamborghinis in a semi truck. And I was like, why are they doing that? Why wouldn't you drive that car down here? And then, all of a sudden it gets unveiled. You know how much a rock chip costs to fix in a Bugatti? It's a totaled vehicle.
10,000.
That paint is a one-off paint. You have to paint the entire vehicle.
Okay.
They would have to fly a technician from Europe to do that here. So it's like I started finding all these niches that I could provide everybody, protect their stuff.
Right. That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. I mean, yeah, it's nice that you have all of these different niches and whatnot to help out, And so for everyone watching this, or for everyone that's watching it after, I see someone just followed on DLive. Go watch this rerun and first off, follow Nardo and myself if you haven't already. But yeah, you know, reach out to the Hexicans in the community. People like Big Pep that were in the stream earlier. He even mentioned that that one thing Richard Hart was talking about is like, man, you know, I think the question was like, well, what can people do for the Hex community? And he was saying like outbound messaging and things like this. But Big Pep, long story short, he recently got on YouTube and things like this. And it's cool that one person stepping outside of their comfort zone or doing something new can really provide a lot of value to people that need it, man. Because you know, people like Richard Hart, he when he designed Hex and when it was finished, I remember him saying he didn't design it to be fun. You know, he didn't design it to be this or that, but because it had security, because it had himself that was the or that is the founder of it, and kind of like the you know, the person that's on the front line. You know, people got attracted to that, and yeah, it's really cool what we're all doing, man. It's something that less than 2 years old, you know, just had its year birthday, and man, sky's the fucking limit for Hex. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Just wait for your day.
Exactly. And yeah, for the people, you mentioned a stake on day 4. You had a 1 penny stake that costed you 1 penny. So 2 penny stake total because of the 1 penny in the transaction fee, but it's worth $4.98 now.
Yep.
And the thing about Hex, when I tell my brothers about it or my friends about it, and they say like, oh man, you know, and they're in it, you know, I got them in it, but they look at my bag or this or that, and you know, they have the jealousy that, you know, they feel like they're in too late. And it's like, man, if say if you didn't have the opportunity to mine Bitcoin with your graphics card, but you had the opportunity to buy it at $1, well, were you still in too late? Like Richard's mentioned this before, for the people in 2011, 2012, they sold their Bitcoin early after a, you know, 20x, 30x. A lot of those people don't realize what happened 10 years later, a Bitcoin hitting 24,000. So with things like Hex, I would suggest that if anyone watching this isn't a staker, that you look into Hex staking, because that is what it's designed to do. Is when you stake, you are earning interest trustlessly with no middleman and with no counterparty. So for your 1 penny stake, I think that's a really inspiring and motivational example to the people that were just here a year ago. So I think that can provide a lot of value to the people. And for anyone watching, you're not too late. This is just getting started.
Yeah, you're absolutely not late. One of the things I say to my people that give me that same question is, guys, you just bought a $500 Ethereum coin to go into this Hex coin. Yeah. I can probably say with confidence, if Hex is $500 a coin, then you might be too late from where you're at in your hourly job paying life. That's right. It.
Yeah.
And then still, I still don't think a $500 Hex is out of the question. You still just do the dollar cost average. You go to work every day where other people go to sleep and get sick. You got to be consistent.
Yeah, man. And yeah, that's the last thing I'll say too, is when I, you know, got into Hex, certain things that you didn't expect do evolve. So same here for myself. I'm still averaging and still averaging my buys, and it's cool that it's given people the opportunity, like David Feeder, to pay off their debts, because those things are just so burdensome in life. Yeah. And when Richard mentioned, like, if you can solve that money problem and things like that, then you know, the world can be a much brighter and more advanced and better place and loving place if we can tackle some of the day-to-day issues that we're having, or tackle the debts. I mean, you know, back in the day, you didn't need much. If you bought Bitcoin at like a penny or $1, you didn't need much of it for it to go exceedingly higher years later. You just needed some patience. And you mentioned that you wish you could have had some sort of locking mechanism for things like that. And it's cool that not only does it do that and does it do it securely, but it pays you to do that well, or it pays you to do that and like incentivizes you to delay gratification. So we've never had anything that you can lock up for 5,555 days and be hard locked. You know, the $7.5 million buy that was nearly the $7.5 million stake that was nearly a billion hex, or the multiple million single million stakes that I've seen. You know, things like that they're just getting started. You know, it's going to continue happening, and whales love to and just people in general that are successful, they like to park their assets or their money in places that aren't going to go to zero and things that are secure. And Hex has that opportunity.
Yeah, it does. Definitely does. It shows you daily with the interest you get, and then on top of it, the coolest part about for me is the share price going up every day. A lot of people didn't believe me when I kept trying to tell them that, and you need to be think about your choices that you're doing and really follow through. Don't be wishy-washy, because these fees can eat you up if you're not careful.
Yeah, man. And yeah, you're right. The share price, when people say, how do I know that I'm not in too late? It's like, well, share price only goes up, and that's what actually mimics. It's an analog for compounding interest. And when you realize these certain things, and you realize like personally, I know a lot of the Hexicans, myself included, were thinking after big payday that the share rate would go to 20,000, 30,000 hex. But when it didn't, it shattered my paradigm, because I was like, man, I still got time to stack more cheap T-shares, It's all about them sweet T-shares, man.
Yeah.
So anyways, thank you, dude, for coming on. I really appreciate you, Nardo. Put your link again in the in all of the social medias that we're streaming on. And I'd love to do this again sometime in the future, man. I really appreciate the information that you've expressed and shown. And I guess if you have any last things you'd like to say before you leave, contact you on Twitter if they're interested, or anything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I've said or done anything that you might want to ask a question, I'm available. I do go to bed early though, so if not, I'll probably reach at you at some uncomfortable time in the morning. But yeah, whatever you guys have a question, I probably got an answer to it, or I have multiple contractors around me. Just if you want to throw out ideas, or prices that you can plan for. I found out in my life, if I always position myself through everything that could possibly happen during an event, I'm just that better off. I have, yeah. And you guys will be too, especially with negotiations as well during these things. So.
Exactly. Someone like yourself has the experience of knowing.
Yeah. Are you getting a good job? Are you getting good materials? Where are they taking it out? Are they charging you 40% of these materials? Maybe you can take that 40% and get the materials to your house already. These are little things a lot of people just don't know. And I don't like contractors taking away from these individuals' lives. I mean, they got it hard enough, and those contractors are making enough.
My grandpa, he always wanted my dad to get into a trade, and he always said the same thing to us, because one of his major reasons was there always is someone that needs their plumbing done, or unfortunately so and so got a DUI or died in a car crash, and hey, we need to salvage this before we sell it for the funeral, or just a number of different things that can happen. And so yeah, for anyone that's has those questions and wants to reach out to Nardo, you definitely can. And yeah, to your point, like, whether you get back to him immediately or, the day later, things like that is not necessarily, super important, but yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all the information, man. I'd love to have you on again sometime in the future. I'm not sure when, but I am kind of, this was kind of like the kickoff episode, like, of what I want to, incorporate into my channel. Aside from just my weekly live streams on Sunday, I want to interview people and get more Hexicans on the show and in the community and talk with them, because I've got a lot of people that I know that are in the Hex community. Like, you mentioned that you watched the Polly Annie interview yesterday. Well, I'm actually going on Joe's show next week. So next Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll be doing, I believe it's 6 p.m. Standard Time. I'll be doing Pacific Standard Time. I'll be doing the show with him. So anyways, I've got some other people lined up as well, and appreciate you coming on for a couple hours, man. You provided a lot of value, and I'll see you on the next time.
All right, Bray.
Thanks,
We'll see you,
Nardo.
man.
Peace out, bro.